Hi everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. My name is Praj, and Inixio AG is a channel that I wanted to start where I believe I saw a lot of gaps where a lot of content that I came across when I started on my trading journey was based out of mentorship or a lot of things where new traders where they're really learning and honestly they are really cash crunched because a lot of the capital needs to be within their accounts as they're learning. Hesitated, including myself when I was a new trader, to really go out there to try out new memberships and just to realize that it wasn't a fit for me. Over the years, what I realized is my style of trading is technical trading where I trade off levels. And there was not a lot of technical trading guidance available online, though there are a lot of the traders who do share levels. I think I'm a big fan of Vincent, which is Options Insider. I love his content. I have been following him since the beginning of my journey, and I feel he's one trader who has brought a lot of value into my trading. So when I thought of a channel, I really wanted it to be focused on how I can share my experiences and um, just share what I'm looking at. And if it benefits new traders and experienced traders, I think that is something that would be really amazing. At the end of the day, the goal is to share lessons, strategies, and chart levels that I use for my own trading and get feedback from y'all because I know there's a lot of y'all out there who have figured out ways of trading which we as a community can benefit out of. So it's really interesting. This is my first video with my own voice. So I wanted to make sure to introduce the channel, and I'm sure with more videos to come, I would be talking about how we intend to grow. We have a lot of partnerships coming up with a lot of amazing brokers and identity that y'all might know of. And my goal out of that is how I can benefit the viewers and how I can create value for y'all. So thank you so much for tuning in. Again, my name is Praj, and thank you for watching this video. So in today's video, before I jump into the video, I want to make sure to share a quick disclaimer. Before we get started, the disclaimer, this video is for educational purposes only, and it is not financial advice or trade recommendations. Always do your own research and trade at your own risk. So now that being said, let's get into the chart. So in today's video, I'm sure you all saw we had a big downside day, red day as we call it. But a lot of those uh, trades came into some good levels. And I think to keep it simple, I'm going to start I'm going to talk about Nasdaq Futures, QQQ, the ETF for Nasdaq Futures, S&P 500, also known as ES Futures, SPY ETF, and just get into three of the stocks that I was watching, which is Tesla, Nvidia, and Palantir, and just share where the stocks came to and what we can keep looking for. So this is the Nasdaq Futures chart. And before I get into the charts, you all might see I definitely have levels, but I also have SMAs. Um, my SMAs are daily SMAs. So what I mean by that is when we have the SMAs in there, I restrict them to the daily time frame. So as you can see over here, we have the daily time frame that just keeps it more consistent. It helps me as a trader if I'm going across, say, 15 minutes, an hourly, or even a 5 minute chart. My SMAs aren't really moving. That helps me with my trading decisions. So that's the reason I do that. And over the charts, I'll also show you that how those SMAs are something that has been you know uh, do act like resistance and support. So like we see in the Nasdaq futures today, we saw the futures opened up and we had a big down day, which came right into the 50 SMA on my chart. And right off the 50 SMA, we do see a bounce. This bounce went all the way up into 23,392, which was a level that has been acting as support on over on Wednesday, and today it's acting as resistance. This you can also view it as a lower high, because what we really want to see is it reclaiming and holding that level, which it does not seem to be happening. A lot of times, we have seen when there is a big down day, we do see something, a phenomenon called as a dead cat bounce, where ultimately, the sellers start taking profit, and then it seems like the buyers are taking control. And in here, we do see that at one point, that the sellers came to a very major level, 23,029, and then we saw a bounce from there. There was also the 50 SMA right over there, and ultimately, currently, we see that we are rejecting over there. A lot of times, what I do recommend is going and looking at a bigger picture, which also what I mean by that is looking at the bigger time frame. And the reason it really helps us with looking at the bigger time frame is sometimes we might have a red day like today, but when we look at the bigger time frame, it just gives us an idea that that what we essentially have done is we've been running a lot over the past few weeks, and we needed a little bit of a cool off. The cool off can be mentioned that be due to some news or anything, and that's completely fine. But what this cool off really does is actually helps us move higher, because it helps us create more liquidity. If we only have consistent buying going on, so let me go to a daily chart. When we have consistent buying going on, it becomes really difficult um, for the buyers to keep the chart higher. In the Nasdaq futures specifically, over here, as this is contract adjusted, we can see we kept on going higher, and eventually we just needed a little bit of cool off. We saw some consolidation going on from August 13th to August 19th, which was Tuesday. And then finally, the buyers gave up and the sellers took control. And now we're seeing a little bit of the cool off. This can also be seen on QQQ. For those who do not know, QQQ is the ETF for Nasdaq futures. So you can trade options on QQQ, and you can also buy QQQ. It is the ETF for Nasdaq futures. Today, QQQ rejected at the 20 SMA, and then it came back down as the Nasdaq futures was, and finally found support closer to the 558 level, which it had also originally held on August 5th. And now we can see that it is having a similar story where it's reclaiming 563, and if it's able to hold uh, above that, we could see a move to 566. I would just say be careful above 566. There is a clear move to 572, but we have to clear out the 20 SMA over here. QQQ is very tech driven. So when you look at the QQQ, you want to look at the semiconductors, you want to look at Tesla, you want to look at the Mag 7. So that's something, whereas ES is overall a composite which has tech in it, but also has down names in it. So that's why we see a lot of reactions in there. So for QQQ right now, I would be watching a 563. If we break below 563, that would act as a resistance, and then we would, I would say, a better entry would be closer to 558. Now looking at the ES, which is also known as S&P 500. I'm going to move on to the 5-minute chart to give you a better picture of what really happened this morning. ES since yesterday was rejecting the 6,428 level, and as we can see, we saw multiple rejections over there, and around as the market opened, it finally gave up, and it really didn't even hold the 20 SMA. It tried to over here, if we can say, but it really sliced right through it, and it came back to a major level around the 6,366. If we look at the larger picture, let me go to the hourly chart. This has been a major level, which previously acted as a support on August 6th and acted as a resistance on 31st of July. So we definitely see a lot volume over there. And as you can see on the hourly candle, it tried to fake sellers out. And this is something that I really mentioned to a lot of new traders that um, confirmation is really important. And what I mean by that is, over the time, I have learned that a confirmation candle is very important for us to take the trade. If you look at this candle, it does have a wick where it broke this level, but that candle was unable to close under. So if you would have been looking for a short trade to try this gap, and you would have taken a trade when this candle was going underneath, you would have got faked out instantly. And if you were trading futures and did not have a stop loss, the next candle would have ripped right through 63.76, and you would have regretted taking that trade. I have done that many a times throughout my career. So one of the rules I do follow is confirmation. I do not mind missing out on a trade, but what I do not want to do is take a trade before it really gives me a confirmation, and that I eventually lose money on that trade. Because it's not, for a trader as they're growing, it is not just about losing money. It is when we lose money, it plays with our confidence. And what that really does is, the next time we see a setup, we start asking ourselves more questions. And sometimes questions are good, but sometimes questions also mean fear, and we stop taking good setups. So a good setup could be something like, if we look at the move on this candle, it came to 63.92, but it went right back above. So if you would have taken a trade closer, say 63.95 with a stop loss of 62.91, you would have been able to catch this bounce, as it was still rejecting the 20 SMA, but there was a little bit of trade here, especially if you're trading futures and you're just looking to catch a few points. This is something that you can look at, and the importance of having that level is something that I emphasize on, and hopefully I can share with you all. Now let's look at SPY, which is the ETF for S&P 500, or ES. And this morning, SPY did something similar, where it rejected. Since market closure yesterday, it was rejecting the 639.92 level, and today it finally decided to give that level up. It broke the 20 SMA, tried to make a fake out, where it tried to have some trader get interested in a long trade. Um, did a fake out at the 20 SMA and then came right back down to 632.97 where it held, and you saw at least I would say three candles of confirmation over here on a 5 minute chart. Let's see how it looks on the 15 minute. If you look at the 15 minute chart, it gives you a doji candle almost to say. It's not a very big wick, but it's holding with a small doji candle with two large green candles, which would have been a great trade if you're looking for an options trade. Obviously, all trades have risk, so you want to manage your risk. You probably didn't want to put a lot of size into that, but that is something that could have been interesting. Right now, we do see that SPY is rejecting the 20 SMA, and if it does stay below the 20 SMA, we there's a very high chance that we come back down to test the 632.97 level, and if we break that, we can see a move to 629.47. So these were the ETFs, and for the futures, I think I just wanted to make sure to talk about a few stocks as well. One of them being Tesla. Tesla is a very interesting stock. It's very volatile and it's very news driven. But time and again, it does do something where it does follow technicals. So as you can see over here, Tesla came back to the 200 SMA. So on the chart, on all the charts, I have 20, 50, 100, and 200, all which go back to the daily time frame. It was holding the 200 SMA. Today decided it's gonna give that up, and it came right. It broke 20. It broke 50. It broke the 320 level, and it almost was, as the market was selling off, it came back down closer to the 312. And with a market reversal, obviously you have to keep an eye. If you're looking at Tesla, you also want to look at Nasdaq and QQQ, because if the Nasdaq is holding, Tesla is going to get a reversal, and that's what we can see. It eventually came back to the 20 SMA, and we saw right now we see it's rejecting and currently playing around the 320. If we are looking to long Tesla, we wanted to hold the 320 level. Definitely, I would say keep a lookout for the 320 level. It's been a level that has held in the past. So we can see over here, there was a hold on August 7th, going into August 8th, and then on August 8th, as we can see, we had a big reaction. I believe there was some news as well, but we saw a big reaction moving us right into 332. Along with Tesla, you could also watch Nvidia. These are favorites in the market right now: Tesla, Nvidia, and then later after this, I'm going to talk about Palantir. But these are favorites where what I mean by that is there is a lot of volume into these stocks. So if you're looking to day trade or swing trade based on your strategy, you can be looking at these. Nvidia has been a stock which has seen a lot of rise. And to talk about what happened today was Nvidia was at the 174 level. And what we needed to see for downside was a break of 174. And if you go to the 5 minute chart, um, um, after the first 5 minutes after the market opened, it broke below. It was unable to reclaim, and it came right back down to 169. And then we see, as I mentioned, we saw a fake out, but it held, and then it probably held from 10:05 to 10:50. So a long 50-minute period where if you were sitting on longs, especially options, and your IV was high, you would have been careful. You would have had to be careful because it definitely went up, but it came back down. That would have uh, depleted the value of your options. But ultimately, as the market started bouncing, it held again the 168 level, and right now it came back to the 174. It tried to hold above the 174, but it does not seem like it's going to be holding that unless we see some market strength. The 174 level again if I have to reciprocate that to the past, has been a hold on 4th of August. And that really helped us make a move beyond the 179 into the 180s, where ultimately 183 seems to be like a top where it rejected multiple times. So I would say keep an eye on it. A best trade would set up beyond the 174 level, but again, we need to see market strength for to really capture that. And at the end, I'm going to talk about Palantir. I know a lot of you all are watching Palantir. We got news on Palantir, which held it really catch a downward move. One of the things I would say that is very important for everyone to think about in terms of Palantir has been the run up it has done over the past few weeks, I would say. If you look at the chart on July 1st, Palantir was 128, and on August, let's just do simple maths. So the 1st of August, um, let's just do the first to Tuesday of August, which is 5th of August, it was at 173. That's a $50 move for a stock which gained a lot of news momentum. And if you see, it also created a gap over here, which was filled yesterday with this big candle. Today's candle definitely shows us that it's coming into a strong buy zone. It really needs to hold over here, or I think a strong zone would be 128, where we have seen holes over here on July 1st, and which also 10th of June. Looking at the smaller time frame for Palantir, right now it's holding the 50 SMA, but I would say it needs to reclaim 155.68 for it to really give us a move back. Uh, my recommendation would be really stay away from it. The reason being, it does not have a lot of positive sentiment around it. And you also want to look at it in, if you look at the larger time frame, based on the price action, all these buyers over here are currently underwater. So every time you see a bounce, you are going to see profit taking so that the buyers can really profit take. If someone who entered over here and ran all the way up there and took profits, they're definitely sitting in a much better position than someone who expected this to continue on. A lot of times when the traders enter a trade and it's around, I would say 190, they're expecting it to go to a round figure of 200, and they were expecting that move. But this news really started that sell off where most of the traders from here are underwater. So I would say be careful. We saw good wick today, so that is something that is positive, but not enough for us to really take a trade over there. I would also say Palantir, it depends on your strategy if you're looking for an option or shares. I always believe long-term trading is beneficial because as you see, with good entries in long-term trading, buying the shares, you always eventually come out profitable. One of our best example is Warren Buffett. He bought value stocks, he bought stocks, and he held. In today's world, we really are running behind quick gains. And with quick gains, a lot of times what happens is we could have 3 or 4 green days, and then one red day really wipes off those profits. And more than a lot of the capital, I believe it's the mindset of the trader that gets affected, because trading is more of a mental game. That being said, I just want to say thank you. These are the levels that I think I have it on my chart, and I always recommend everyone to have levels on their chart and play stocks from the levels. A lot of successful traders don't really trade often. They just trade good setups. So my recommendation always remains trade good setups. The goal overall is not to chase every move, but is to wait for the right opportunity and trade with knowledge and confidence. And at the end, there's something that I think I came across today, which I wanted to share in this video. That success is nothing more than a few simple discipline practiced every single day. So have discipline in your trading, believe in yourself, and at the end of the day, as a community, I believe we will become successful traders. For our new traders, I'm sure there's a lot of traders who are successful. So I would request them to leave in the comments what strategies they use or what they think was helpful for them in their journey earlier. I would also recommend you all watching to please leave stock recommendations that you all want to watch. As this was my first video, I wanted to just cover a few the futures and the ETFs that I feel a lot of us watch and trade. Thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate it. Please give me your feedback on what you thought about this video and how I can make it better in the future. And thank you so much for being a subscriber. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to growing with you all. Thank you.